Hey guys, how's it going? Long time no see. Welcome to another developer update live stream for Diablo 4. My name is Adam Fletcher. I'm the community director here for Diablo. I'm joined by our wonderful panel here. Some familiar faces, one new face. Feel free to introduce yourselves, you guys.
Thanks. I'm Joe Shelley, game director for Diablo 4.
I'm Antonio Watson, associate dungeon designer for Diablo 4.
And I'm Joe Pipora. I'm the associate game director for Diablo 4's live service.
And I know you guys actually just saw an early look at season 2, season of Blood, with that video before the actual live stream kicked off. I do want to start off before we season 2, of course, with Season of Blood. I go through all the gameplay mechanics, a little bit about the story, some of the new elements that are coming within this season, since we're now coming really close to Season of Blood, which is coming out on October 17th. And of course, Season of the Malignant will also be ending on October 17th, so it'll be a season transition for players between both seasons. And then we have a bunch of gameplay updates and quality of life updates to actually go through a ton. Like this, we expect this actual developer update live stream to go for about 2 hours. Because we do need to go through a ton of items with everyone.
The important stuff is the quality of life.
So, I know that we just watched the video together where we talk about are the mechanics, like what you're going to be doing during the season to kind of gain power and such. So we talk about the fantasy of the season is that the player is basically becoming part vampire during the course of the Season of Blood. And part of that comes down to making sure that we have cool vampire powers for players to collect and use. So what we see here is our vampire power user interface. It's the way players are going to be able to collect a lot of powers as they're progressing through the season, and then slot them into the circular UI above.
Beyond even just like seasonal stuff, and I know people may have seen in the video the discussion that we quickly brought up like before the stream actually started, which was about the new bosses that are being added in. Can you guys kind of walk through like what the new endgame boss system is going to be for players that do want to kind of experience that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're right that first and foremost, this is content we're adding to the Eternal Realm as well as the Seasonal Realm from this point forward. Yes. We're continuing to add more activities like this as time goes on. But there's actually, I think I have a handy dandy chart, a very designery chart to help players understand kind of what we're talking about here. So what you see here is the way that we kind of look at the content progression of Diablo 4, the way the players are playing through the experience, the sorts of activities they engage with as they play at various
like
stages.
in Season 1, right?
Yeah, in pre-season and Season 1. Yeah. So yeah, you can think of it in that way. Our 1 to 50 experience, obviously you're leveling up initially, maybe you're going through the campaign for the first time, you're progressing through, eventually you get out of World Tiers 1, 2, and get into World Tier 3 after you finish the capstone. Here you get to do, you have higher level whispers to do, you get exposed to Nightmare Dungeons for the first time, you get exposed to Helltide for the first time, World Boss get a little bit tougher, Legion events get a little bit tougher, and we're making some changes there as well. And then eventually you get into World Tier 4, now you're getting your ancestral items, and you continue to move on through Nightmare Dungeons, and you continue on through Helltide until eventually you go and you confront Echo of Lilith, potentially, if that's one of your goals for yourself, and you try to take her out. So that's kind of like what we had in place right at launch, not even thinking about Season 1 necessarily, but that's like what the end game sort of looks like. It's a lot of Nightmare Dungeons, a lot of Helltide, right? And we've heard a lot of feedback from players, and also from our experiences playing the game, that players are looking for more milestones, they're looking for more goals, they're looking for more like things to farm, ways to make their characters powerful. So there's some big changes we're making as part of the Season of Blood, and we can show that here. So now when the player gets into World Tier 3, there's 2 new bosses for them, or 1 returning boss for them to go and engage with. The first is Echo of Varshan, our good boy Varshan that everybody loves, is going to be back in Season 2 for players to be able to hunt down in order to kill, to get various craft materials they can use to summon other boss later, but also specifically to get uniques that only drop from Varshan. So every one of the bosses that we add as part of the Season of Blood is going to have their own distinct loot list associated with them, with unique items, and there are some cosmetic rewards as well that we'll be able to talk about in a little bit.
Okay.
So that's a reason why you're going to want to go hunt each of these down. Now on this board here, you can see that I kind of like connect the dots in terms of where these things come from. So if you want to go hunt Varshan, you need to go complete Whispers. There's chances for you to find like malignant creatures as you're completing whispers in the overworld. They have rare chances to occur, and you'll also be able to get these new malignant body parts you need from completing whisper bounty turn-ins. So when you go and you get your cash reward at the end of a whisper run, there's a chance for you to have one of the pieces that you need to summon Barshan, reconstitute him. Because in the Season of Blood, there are new layers that have been added around the world. And the lair for Varshan is in a kind of a corrupted hollow, malignant hollow beneath the Tree of Whispers. So right there's an entrance down in where you'll fight some awesome malignant creatures. No malignant hearts dropping, but malignant creatures certainly down there. And at the end of that small dungeon, you're able to go and basically throw these materials into this new brazier that we've added to be able to summon Varshan back from the dead to fight him for the special loot that he has. Now, one of the new creatures that we're adding is this the Galvanic Saint, which we'll show off some of the new art for some of these characters in just a moment. But this is a new, like very lightning-themed boss that players will be able to go and engage with as they complete Helltide content. They will learn Infernal Steel from opening various caches and use this as a way, as part of a new layer, to go and summon the Galvanic Saint and deal with his lightning-themed attacks. And that's actually something that might be worth pointing out. While we're not talking about the elemental resistance changes until next week when Adam comes back with Charles and they talk about all the class changes and itemization updates that are happening as part of the season. It's worth pointing out that several of the bosses in this chain have they are very elementally themed in terms of their attacks. So you should be looking for like lightning resist explicitly if you're trying to farm Grigwar, and you'll be looking for cold resist to find from the Beast of Ice later.
While you're in combat, because this is a consumable item, we feel pretty good about the case where people are, and disconnecting on purpose. You're still going to consume that item. So
there's not a lot of people. There's not people disconnecting on purpose.
It all sucks to die to a disconnect.
When people disconnect from the game,
incenses, which are the party.
That's probably going to
elixirs, of course.
Pee off a lot of people.
Will now grant a bonus to experience, and they will persist through death. So it'll be more useful. Mm-hmm. Now this is a big one. We have a bunch of different experience changes that we're going to go over here. You're going to see a few different references to different experience changes. One of the things, and if you're playing Season 1, you'll notice that we did make some adjustments to experience in Season 1 as well. That's sort of, all this is sort of coming together with some changes to how experience is calculated in terms of which things are multiplicative. So the way this will work is, in general, you've got different kinds of experience bonuses. So you've got maybe a bonus from incenses that we just added, for example. You've got other experience bonuses maybe from seasonal blessings. These are going to add together in a bucket and then be multiplicative with your World Tier bonus. This means that these experience bonuses will be much more impactful
Just show us the
in
numbers.
Season 2 than they were in Season 1. In
Show
fact,
us the numbers. I don't trust
cumulatively,
you.
as I said, there are a number of different experience bonuses here. And cumulatively, your time, compared to Season 1, your time to get to level 100 is going to be 40% faster.
Yep, about 40% faster.
40%?
Than it was in
Season
Season 1. Yeah, in Season 2. This
Okay,
is,
we're going to see.
Why would we do that?
Well, we found that Season 2 is really about, we just talked about all of the boss changes that add more content to do as you're leveling up.
Look, it ain't even about that. If you want multiple people to play multiple characters throughout the season, since I've started Diablo 4, I've been a rogue specialist. But obviously, I want to create me a necromancer. I want to play a barbarian. I want to play a sorcerer. I want to play the different classes. So if you have somebody that is going to be hardcore dedicated and just grinding up the game and, switching off after we reach 100 on one character, after we done got all the sticky for that character, for that build, yeah, I would love to go through the season again on the other characters. It just makes sense. But I also get it. There's also the hardcore people. And, for them, heck, let them go and make them a hardcore core character. But for the verbiage and words that they can't use that I can use. Like for the casuals that's going to be casually playing through the game, for the average person that works a 9 to 5, they're not going to really have a whole lot of time to invest in a game versus somebody like me, a content creator, or a stay-at-home father, stay-at-home mother. Like the mass majority of the player base is unfortunately is the casual player and the person that works 9, 10, 12, 14, 16 hours a day. They're not going to have time to put a whole lot of time into the game like that.
We also want players to be able to get to level 100. It's a goal that many players set for themselves, and it should be an achievable goal. And so
It should be.
We saw that there were some players who were getting frustrated. You maybe get to level 75, and you're like, I want there to be more things to do, and this is feels like it kind of slows down. And we really wanted to smooth that over and make the process of reaching that goal and getting to the end of the season journey feel like an achievable goal for all our players who invest time in the season. And of course, along the way, you're going to be having a lot more cool stuff to do with all of the boss ladder stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, these are good changes. Very excited about this.
So, as I said, we'll talk more about other changes to experience as we go through this. But moving on for the moment, when you skip the campaign to jump into the world, as many players do at the start of a season, you're going to have more waypoints that start unlocked compared to previous seasons. That means you don't have to do quite as much running to unlock waypoints as you're going. This isn't every single waypoint, but it's key strategic waypoints that are related to places that you want to go and are centrally located.
Yeah, make it a little bit easier to get around to like whispers that are in rotation as you're like leveling up your character initially. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are some other changes. There's kind of a suite of changes. I was just talking about a number of changes to experience. There's also a suite of changes to sort of town efficiency, and this is the first one that we're going to talk about some more in a little bit. This is a big one. I know this is one that's close to Joe's heart in particular. Renown rewards will now persist between seasons. So what this means is that when you create a new character in a season, you can still earn renown. You can still do side quests if that's something that you enjoy doing. You can go and do strongholds. You can do all of those content types. But all of the rewards that are associated with renown will persist. So if you had, and you don't have to, you're not going to have to log in on a different character or anything. Like any reward that you've claimed, if you claimed it in preseason, on Eternal, in Season 1, on any character, you're going to have that reward automatically when you create your new character in Season 2. And this applies to all of those obols. It applies to skill points, potion upgrades, all that stuff. Yeah.
It's just nice to be able to start a new character and not feel like you have to go do every single side quest over again to get all of the stuff.
Yeah, and this is something it's a really good point, Antonio, because when we are talking about these general improvements, what these came from is a lot like us, the dev team, playing the game, and I think Joe mentioned this before, but it's really important. Playing the game and
they
reading
finally
feedback
played
from
their doggone game.
On social feedback from videos.
Because y'all have already been getting the feedback from the content creators and just the community in general. But it wasn't until they played their own doggone game.
More fun for players, right? And so this is really
started getting frustrated for even you guys too, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I think making sure that players have more choices.
You see how that works?
Log into their
play your game. Play your own game. And you will find your own problems to fix.
Fill out their renown in order to play optimally for this.
Golly.
I think it's going to be really healthy and good for the experience. I'm really excited for players to be able to just be able to carry these things over with their characters. Now, you're not going to need to log in like you did last time when we made changes in the past. Now, like after you've claimed these rewards in a previous character, you're just going to have them on the future characters.
That's right. Yeah, and I was going to say the.
I disrupted your flow.
No, it's all right.
Train of thought
Let's go to the next bullet. Overworld monsters. Yes. So this relates to another change. We're going to talk about it in a little bit. But overworld monsters will now match your player level in World Tiers 3 and 4. I know that this is in preseason, it worked this way. And we ran into some challenges with the game not feeling like you were getting upgrades that really felt powerful. And players rightly called that out. Like,
Yeah.
I want to get powerful new items, and then I want to smash monsters.
Yeah,
and
you want to feel more powerful.
That's a really
level up
core
and
part
such.
of the loop.
That's what makes
So this
Diablo a
change,
fun game.
That's
what makes the game fun.
On par with your level.
I want to be
This is based on
overpowered so I
what
can
you was doing,
smash things.
Season 1. But it's coupled with some other changes that make sure that that it does feel meaningful and powerful, and you're not just feeling like, oh, I'm just sort of playing catch up.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more later on.
And of course, at the end of season 1, your season 1 character is going to migrate to the Eternal Realm, and so we've added 2 additional character slots to make sure that you have plenty of space for more characters.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to note is like when characters are migrating from season 1 to Eternal Realm, we actually have all that information that's going to be posted immediately after this live stream. We have a huge blog that will be essentially talking about everything related to season 2. And so all the details about how that actually happens, how that works, will be in that blog. It works very similar to like if you play Diablo 2 Resurrected, you'll know exactly how that works, and it's very similar to that. But all that information will be on the blog afterwards.
Yeah,
So.
we'll go into detail about what happens with your items and how they carry over.
Yes.
And, yeah, lots of great info there.
Okay, so next I think we have towns. Yeah, towns and vendors. Yeah. So a couple things we've changed here to make towns a little more efficient, and that's like really a focus of ours as we kind of move forward. First up, the occultist is now set up by the Tree of Whispers. So when you go back and you turn in your whispers, there are additional functions you can perform right there without having to like fly off to Kyovashad or anywhere else to go do other work. So that's nice for the loop. We've gone through, we've added stashes much more liberally throughout Sanctuary. This is the first of those changes. So any small town with a waypoint attached to it is going to have a stash near it as well now. So just more opportunities to drop things off or pick things up as you're out there playing, either while you're leveling up a character from 1 to 50 and you just are finding things you want to drop off, or as you are playing in the end game and you're finishing whispers and things nearby. More opportunities to get
That is definitely
and then,
convenient.
Additionally, we've added stashes to like near a lot of different vendors in capital cities. I think we have a video for this in just a moment, but we'll get to that in just a second, I think. But yeah, we've added more stashes all over the place. And then, of course, Purveyors of Curiosities. These lovable rogues, really tuck themselves away in a distant corner of a lot of the capital cities throughout Sanctuary. We're bringing them closer to the waypoints. We're reacclimating them to society, reintroducing them to the world, and just making sure that they're a lot easier to reach, as you can see here. For Kyovashad, like the Purveyor of Curiosities is now like right in the tavern, so it's just a lot easier to go and spend your obols as you're accruing them, and it's harder for you to forget that you have obols, for example. You'll get more gear as you're playing.
The Purveyor has become more social.
Yeah, become more willing to like integrate with the rest of the people in town.